How's it going, guys? Vinny with Tang Slangs here. Today we're going to be doing a comparison video between the MP7 or Tommybuilt T7 and the HK Sp5 or Sp5. I'm rocking the Tarn Tang Slang today. These slings that I sell, they come as 2-point slings. However, if you have a HK style snap hook, you can hook them together and turn them into a 1-point sling. So the more you know. So let's get started. Up on the board here we have a little comparison list, some ballistics data that we'll go over, and then we're going to talk about some other options. Now the other options is really why I made this video. I've been getting a lot of comments on my T7 videos on, oh, you know, this gun, it barely functions, it's a paperweight, which, I mean, yeah. And that, you know, it does kind of suck. And I get a lot of comments saying, hey, why didn't you get a TP9 or insert whatever gun that you choose, right? And well, because I have an MP7. Granted, it doesn't work, and we're gonna get into that. So, before I get too carried away, I'll set that down, and we'll get on to our list here. It's a cool factor, right? Both of these firearms have been around forever. MP5, I'm pretty sure, came first, and then due to the NATO requirement for penetrating soft body armor, the MP7 was developed. And so, I mean, you know, we've seen both of these guns in plenty of, you know, video games, movies, TV shows, and, you know, people love both of them. I personally love the MP7 more. It just has a special place in my heart. I can't tell you why, it just does. So, you know, although this thing costs $4,000 for just the base gun, well, and the stock, I guess, I'm fine with it because it looks really cool on my wall. I mean, some people don't have the budget for it to be just a cool looking wall gun, and, you know, it does suck to have as many malfunctions as it does. However, hey, I get to look up at my wall while I'm working and be like, wow, that gun is still pretty cool. Maybe a little bit of cope, maybe not, you know, maybe I'm just a fanatic. But I'd say they both have a really cool factor. The MP5 has been around for a while. This actually is my take of the Hong Kong was it Special Defense Unit, Self-Defense Unit, MP5 that they use. So, you know, when it comes to which one's cooler, they're both pretty cool. My heart says MP7, but I know you guys will be like, hey, get a gun that works. Fair point. Onto functionality. Well, you can't really say that the Tommybuilt T7 is functioning now, but I believe Tom will get it fixed. A lot of the issues that I think is going on with the T7, and, you know, I'm not a gunsmith or anything, just a guy that's been around guns for a while. It's tolerance issues with the bolt. You know, they're not all the same spec, and, you know, all the problems that I've ran into have been bolt related or extractor related problems. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this one to the MP5 because it's tried and true. This thing's been around for a while, and I haven't had any issues with this whatsoever. I mean, it just functions absolutely flawlessly. And honestly, I think it's my favorite 9mm PCC on the market. You know, I've owned the TP9, I've owned MPX, a bunch of BNTs, you know, Scorpion, all the other ones that, you know, you can get your hands on, I've shot. But the MP5 or Sp5 really is the smoothest shooting 9mm PCC on the market. that roller delay is just butter. If I wanted something with more, modern ergonomics, I would go with the MPX. But the thing is, my requirements for the gun is for it to be really smooth shooting and really quiet. And when this is suppressed, it's just a little bit quieter than the MPX. Reason why I chose this over the TP9, I got rid of TP9 a while ago. The mags, for one, they're not the most durable. They do crack often. None of my mags cracked, but some people drop them on the head and destroy the feed lips. So that's one consideration for the TP9. The second one is it's hard to get a can on the TP9 unless it's the one that is meant for the TP9, whereas hey, this MP5 you can slap on any can that has a trolling adapter or is threaded 1/2x28. So those considerations. Continuing with functionality, we'll go actually to the ballistics chart. So if you saw my previous video, I took the T7 out to, I believe it was 300 or 350 yards, and that's about where I'd say this thing performs or stops performing, right? At 350, it was pretty hard to hear the impacts and definitely spot them. I could not spot them at all. But at 300, I was able to make some hits, not consistent. I'd say about 40% of them hit, and then 200 yards, I was pretty accurate or fairly accurate, making hits on a large IPSC target. And then with the SP5, I don't have any footage up. However, I have taken that out to 200 yards, and I mean, I was hitting 5 for 5, or however much I was shooting. It was really easy to make hits at 200. Now, I did not try the 300 yard with the SP5, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be too difficult to make some shots and land them. So with this chart, we have the Fiocchi 46 EXA 40 grain, and for the Tommybuilt T7, and then for the SP5 we have Federal 9mm full metal jacket 124 grain, and these are their speeds, energies, and drops. All right, so we'll start from the beginning. For the yards, or at 0 yards with the T7, you are looking at about 1900 feet per second. That equates to 320 foot-pounds, and considering there's the height over bore, we're doing minus 1.5 inch. And then for the SP5, we have 1200 feet per second, 396 foot-pounds, and again, minus 1.5 inches for the height over bore. And so immediately we can see that, hey, the 4.6 round is faster, given the requirement for NATO, from NATO, and then the MP5, obviously a lot slower. However, it does have more energy by 76. And then going on to 100 yards, the Fiocchi is now at 1569 with 218 foot-pounds of energy, whereas the MP5 is at 1,000 and 275 foot-pounds. So still more energy with the 9mm. However, the T7 round 4.6 is still flying fast. And then we get on to 200, which is 297, 149 foot-pounds, and 12 inches of drop, well, 12.7 inches of drop, whereas the 9mm is at 889 feet per second, 217 foot-pounds, and 33 inches of drop. So you're getting almost 3 times the drop with a 9mm versus 4.6. And that's really where, or really where one of the points shine for 4.6 is that it's fast and it doesn't drop it. But I mean, you're not really trying to lob rounds out to 300 with either of these guns. I mean, either of these guns are really meant to be within the 50 yard or 100 yard. But it is nice to see that, hey, it is possible. When we're out to 300 yards, the 9mm is dropping 110 inches, whereas the 4.6 is only dropping just under 50. So considerations to have, hey, you know, you don't have to hold over as high with the 4.6 as the 9, but both of them will get out there. And if you do make an impact with the 9, you'll have about 60% more energy on target. Now here's some pros that I mentioned before. Speed defeats a soft body armor, so that's a plus for the 4.6, and it also has less drop. And then pros for the 9 or the Sp5 is that it has more energy. The ammo's cheaper, you know, because it's 9mm, it's widely available. And then also, since it is widely available, there are a lot of manufacturers that make it, so you have a lot of choices. Whereas 4.6, I think you have like maybe 5-6 different boxes of ammo from different manufacturers that you can choose from. So functionality again goes to the Sp5 because the T7 isn't that reliable. Now form factor, as you can see here, both of these are pretty small. To choose one, I mean, you're really splitting hairs, because when you have the stock extended, they're about the same. I mean, your reach isn't gonna be that far. So if I really had to choose one, obviously the smaller one wins. So form factor goes to T7. But you know, in the case where it doesn't work as well, I'd rather go with the Sp5, right? Parts and accessories availability. Now the T7 just came out not too long ago, so there's really not too many aftermarket parts, and also not too many parts that you can throw in and swap. So obviously it goes to the Sp5 that has been around for a while. You know, you have your clones, your PTR, Zenith, you know, and also all of the military and police accessories, you know, that have been developed. Obviously the Sp5 has a lot more you know, accessories you can tack on, like optic mounts, rails, stocks. You can even change out your grip, fire control, and then yeah. So on to cost, right? So this thing again, what, $4,000, and I think the Sp5 has actually come down a lot since it has been released by HK. I mean, sure, you can get a clone like the PTR or Zenith, and you know, those will work okay. I think they're around around $1,000, right? The Sp5, I think the lowest I've seen recently has been around 2,500 to 2,700. So Sp5 obviously cheaper, and you can't even get your hands on a T7 unless you buy it used for an outrageous amount of money. So cost goes to the Sp5. I mean, also ammo cost is really low compared to 4.6. And then we go to rarity. I just kind of had to throw this in because, you know, if you ever wanted an MP7 before Tommybuilt released the T7, you have to get an SOT, go through all that paperwork, and then you can get it transferable, right? That's a lot of hoops to jump through, especially for, you know, a civilian, the average guy, person that, you know, isn't part of the military or police force. You can't really get your hands on a MP7 easily. I mean, you can do it, but you have deep wallets. Whereas the MP5, I mean, the civilian versions and clones have been out for a while, and they are widely available. You know, HK just keeps pumping them out. So, you know, in terms of rarity, since the SP5 is so widely available, I mean, you know, the MP7 takes the cake for that. Now, I know some of you are wondering, you know, hey, why doesn't HK just make an MP7? Now, it's not that they don't want to, it's because of the German laws that prevent them from exporting the MP7, because apparently I think the 4.6 is a caliber of war. Might have that wrong, or maybe just the MP7 is a weapon of war. Whatever the case may be, they can't turn it into a sporterized version like the SP5. There are many other sources to get your information from. You know, this is just me spitting off the top of my head from what I remember. So there you have it. We're down at the end of the list. I did get a lot of comments saying, well, this is something we're revisiting again, right? Saying, hey, why didn't you get a TP9? Well, I have had a TP9, and you know, as mentioned before, being restricted to one suppressor is kind of a pain in the ass. And then the second thing is, it's not an MP7, right? I've had it for a while. I put thousands of rounds through it, and many people complain about the trigger of a TP9. I personally don't think it's bad, but then again, I don't think the trigger on an AUG is bad if you swap the springs for the new red colored springs that AUG or Steyr came out with. And so, you know, I don't mind the AUG trigger. I don't mind the TP9 trigger. I did swap it out with a custom Smith manufacturing straight trigger, and that did take up some of the weight. I think it was about 5 pounds. A little squishy break, but it was still better than the stock trigger. And then the other MP7 I tried was the Keltec CP33, the MP7 at home. It was fun, $400, and then you slap on a Ferrotec stock on it, an adapter, and then pretty much it's like $1,000 gun, not including the optics or lights or whatnot. And that was also fun because you got to shoot, 22, and that was really quiet, but I don't know. It's not an MP7. It doesn't feel like an MP7, and I want an MP7. I want an MP7 that works, but hey, at least I have one's foot in the door, right? I mean, this thing just absolutely feels amazing. It would be nice to have a real one by HK. The fit and finish isn't absolutely perfect, you know, but I mean, hey, it feels like an MP7 and it looks like one, right? So that's gotta count for something. I'm a MP7 fanboy, you know, through and through. I'm not a shill for Tommybuilt. I honestly haven't owned any of his products before, like the G36s or UMPs. So I have no relationship with him. You know, I'm just happy that he made something that resembles an MP7 and does work some of the time. I do believe that he will fix the problems sooner or later. It is unfortunate to have, you know, that much money in a gun, but I'm not really paying for, you know, the gun itself, right? I'm paying for the MP7 vibes of it. You know, it costs what, 50 or however much thousand to own a real MP7, you know, and that's not including all the legal fees, you know, and paperwork and all that. And so, you know, in my mind, I justify it or cope with it by saying, hey, I paid 10% of what a real MP7 costs, and it functions 10% of what a real does. So, you know, split the hairs, try not to go crazy over it, but it is what it is. Maybe down the line when Tom, you know, gets all his parts fixed and whatnot, he'll send me a new bolt and we can get this running, and I can do some drills like I do with the SP5. But, you know, until then, this is what we have, and I think it's good enough for now. well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I don't really have anything else. There's your comparison. Obviously, SP5 wins because it actually works. Would I choose the SP5 over a TP9? Probably not, just because this thing runs forever and the mags are steel. That extra length, you know, really, or extra shortness of the TP9 doesn't really do anything for me if the gun's mags doesn't work. I'm not saying they're completely unreliable, however, the SP5's mags are, you know, more heavy duty, right? So thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.